On Thursday, September 21st, AT&T South Carolina prepared to ride out the worst storm in the state's 300-year history, Hurricane Hugo. Our story focuses on business communication systems, just one of the dedicated groups who would work through the storm and its aftermath.
We started that Thursday morning. We were all pretty apprehensive. We were all getting a little bit scared as Hugo was coming closer.
We called all of our accounts. We suggested that they cover their telephone systems with some type of protective covering in the event that the roof might blow off.
No longer can you get on I-26 to get to Columbia because it's backed up all the way from Columbia.
She said she was kind of panicky, didn't know exactly what they should do, but they were expecting about 4 feet of water in their equipment room. So I suggested that one thing they could do, since they have a modular system 75,
unplug it from the outlet, cut the ground wires, and move it upstairs. Put it on a freight elevator and move it upstairs.
Knowing that the storm was approaching us, we began to get supplies in. We had stuff come in from Columbia. We had stockpiles of telephone instruments.
They tried to elevate the switch but could not do that, so they wrapped it in plastic from underneath.
The police department is 24 hours a day. They cannot miss a lick. Communications to them is life.
The day before the storm, Jim was over here, Jim Bishop, and we talked about what to do in the equipment room. I said, when we lose our telephones? He says, well, when the water gets to this level, it's going to hit this piece of equipment and it's going to take it out. No matter what you do, it's going to take them out then.
We taped, we sandbagged, we lifted up as much equipment as we could possibly lift up.
But all the preparation in the world couldn't have got us ready for this. We just never expected it. It was worse than our worst nightmare. It was a horrible thing. You wish you were somewhere else.
It was around 10 minutes after 12, we had a window blowout. We were in a long-distance toll building. The wind was whipping through the building 120 miles an hour, blowing papers and trash cans around.
We were servicing our customers, but in the back of your mind, you really wondered whether everything you owned had been lost.
All the communications we had were by telephone. That's what we had. Everything else went out. Our radios went out. Everything went out. The telephone stayed on. We had people calling us during the storm. And they're saying, you got to come get me. And we told them there's nothing we can do now. It's too late. No one can leave. 135-mile-an-hour winds, you can't even stand up in it. Debris flying everywhere. Glass shards everywhere. So they just had to hold on. And sometimes that's all they needed to hear was us telling them to stay where you're at and everything's going to be all right.
In a matter of 6 hours, one hurricane did more damage to the Charleston area than all the previous disasters in its 300-plus year history. The losses in Charleston, in the Charleston area at this point in time, have been estimated to be between $4 and $5 billion. Probably more importantly, the psychological damage to the residents of Charleston. Tremendous personal loss. Virtually no family was unscathed by some form of damage, and it'll be years in rebuilding.
Here at the Medical University, we estimate that we had somewhere in excess of $70 million worth of damage. And our institution, telephone-wise, and System 85 was fully operational during the entire storm. We never lost service. We never lost the ability to communicate. People have come to us since then and said, if I had not been able to communicate with somebody else, another living person, another living body, I don't know what I would have done during that hurricane.
To go through a storm of this magnitude and still have telephones is unheard of. It was the only utility that survived.
I have 3 System 75s. Have the one at the county police department, which got a little damp, and it never stopped. It's more than just the switch, it's the service behind the switch. I think today we know we're in an age where technology has really advanced, but the technology is only as good as the service.
If you want a switch that's going to stay up and operate, and you want the people that's going to be there inside that room when that storm is eating you up outside, you need to look at AT&T very seriously and those System 85. We put a full-page advertisement in yesterday's paper here in Charleston, and we listed about 25 groups that were pointed out during this storm as being here when the chips were really down and you needed them. And in our top 10 was our AT&T telephone technicians. They were here They were working, they left their homes and their families, and they were devoted enough to this institution and AT&T to be here when we needed them to make everything work.